Welcome to Hypnosis for Spiritual Awakening and Healers. This is part 1, the Introduction to Hypnosis. Take this complete course at the Past Life Awakening Institute. It's a free 3-hour course. Click the links in the description. So we'll start off looking at hypnosis and regression. So in this module, we'll go through hypnosis from the initial definitions all the way through to being able to use hypnosis to take people back and regress them to this life and a past life. So we'll start with hypnosis and some definitions. So there are always a number of definitions you can use, and often we have a short version and a long version, and the definition can depend a bit on the context. So let's start with some initial short definitions. In a few words, we can say hypnosis is a state of heightened suggestibility. We can elaborate and say hypnosis is a bypass of the conscious critical factor to establish selective acceptable thinking at a subconscious level. Now, these definitions can be interesting initially in what they're not. So it's simply a state of increased suggestibility. It's not about unconsciousness or anything magical or unusual. We're simply more suggestible than usual. And the second definition brings in the conscious and the subconscious. So we're having a bypass of the conscious critical factor. So for example, if somebody has an issue, they have a limiting belief, which is, I was born with this phobia, I can't do anything about it. And we can explain to them that it rationally doesn't make any sense to have an irrational phobia of something, but that conscious barrier prevents that message getting into the subconscious, and our goal is to establish acceptable thinking at a subconscious level. So acceptable thinking is simply the decision that we make. I want to no longer be afraid of that thing. And at a subconscious level means I don't have to analyze it. It just automatically happens that I don't have a phobic response. We'll go into what hypnosis is and isn't in more detail in another section. Now we'll continue on with the definitions. So we can make distinctions in the types of hypnosis we use. So there can be directive hypnosis, where we give suggestions to the subconscious mind and tell it what to do. We can have an interactive form of hypnosis where instead of telling the subconscious what we think it should do, we interact and elicit from the subconscious its wisdom and ask it, what is really the cause of this phobia? And what is your suggestion on the best way that we can resolve this issue? So we can tell it what we think the answer is. We can ask the subconscious or superconscious what the answer can be. So directive hypnosis can work for pretty simple issues where the cause is obvious. Interactive can be for more complex issues where it's useful to gather some information. Now, hypnosis in the context of regression is important for two reasons. One of them is that in a hypnotic state, we're able to access our longer term memories. So our conscious mind has our short-term memories. Our subconscious mind is the storing place for our long-term memories. In fact, everything that's ever happened to us is stored as a memory. We normally cannot access this. And by normally, I mean in a conscious waking state. But in a hypnotic state, we can bypass the blocks to accessing long-term memory and actually remember things from very long ago. Another area where hypnosis becomes important in regression is that in a hypnotic state, we can access our inner wisdom. So this is the part that can know which memories in the past are actually significant and what the causative issues are. So we can interactively ask our subconscious for the answers, and it's the inner wisdom that exists within it that can get the answer. So now we're creating a hypnotic state to apply it for therapy. So we're going from hypnosis to hypnotherapy. So let's look at some initial, shorter definitions for hypnotherapy. According to the US Department of Labor, in their directory of occupational titles, a hypnotherapist or a master hypnotist or a hypnotist is someone who consults with clients to determine the nature of the problem, prepares the client to enter hypnotic states by explaining how hypnosis works and what the client will experience, induces a hypnotic state in the client to increase motivation or alter behavioral patterns through hypnosis. Now, this is a fairly clinical and vanilla definition of hypnotherapy, but I too quite like the fact that they really emphasize consulting with the client and preparing them to enter hypnotic states. This is often something people underestimate the importance of or skip but it actually is critical to the process of successful hypnosis. Here's my definition. Hypnotherapy is a partnership with the client based on rapport. The hypnotherapist helps the client move their conscious mind to the background and their subconscious mind to the forefront to access inner resources, to discover and overcome blocks, and to achieve their defined goal. So it's not something that we do to the client. It's something we do together, and rapport is essential, and that is built up during the preparation process while we consult with the client about what their defined goal is, and we explain to them how hypnosis works. That's included in rapport building. Now, the conscious and the subconscious mind is critical as well. They define their goal with the conscious mind, and it's in their subconscious that they access inner resources and overcome blocks. So these are our key therapeutic mechanisms. What we do with hypnosis once we've got it. And we remain outcome orientated. So we're doing whatever we can to achieve their defined goal. We specialize in hypnotherapy with age regression that uses hypnosis to access the subconscious mind and go back into the long-term memory and have the wisdom to choose causative events from some time earlier in this life that can contribute to limiting beliefs, emotional residues, and program behaviors that we no longer want to do or that are affecting us and creating an issue. And that's the goal that we set to clear. And we can do this using a range of therapeutic techniques like inner child work, parts therapy, forgiveness. Past life regression is similar in that we still use hypnosis. This time we could say we go back into the superconscious mind. Our subconscious could be associated to the body in this life. Our superconscious we could think of as being connected to our spiritual body. So we can access memories from previous bodies, from previous existences and past lives. Also to find causative events that have left emotional and mental residues so we can clear them. And we can do this through a number of techniques like breaking the bonds of time, reframing, and through learning and realizing spiritual lessons. Now, it's past life regression, but it's for the purpose of bringing us back into the present moment, using the lessons we've learned to make better actions and choices of body, speech, and mind so that we can clear or accept whatever karmic residues stay with us so that we can be more at peace and clear in the present moment. Take this complete course at the Past Life Awakening Institute to get the downloadable manual, assignments, and script book, and to gain a certificate of completion. The manual covers what we're going to go through in the videos. The script book is only the words that you'll say to the client in session. It's a free 3-hour course. Click the links in the description.